This was a violation of the spirit of the game, the spirit of cricket. Cricket, remember, is a game where in order to get somebody out, you have to say, how's that? The batsman doesn't automatically get out. You go to an umpire and the umpire then decides, and you basically accept the decision of the umpire. So now you can have a television review and so on and so forth. The game is based around the idea that two teams come together believing that they want to play the sport in the best possible spirit. Yes, you want to win, you want to use all the tactics possible in winning, but not to shake hands is so churlish. You're quite right. It shows an immature country. It shows what a young boy would do, not a country which is claiming to be one of the world's powers and is going to rise to the heights of glory and economic strength.
Many people believe these were decisions taken at the behest of the government. What's your view?
Well, I don't think, I don't believe that the BCCI would take a decision on its own for or against in that sense. Now that we have not been shaking hands, the resumption of handshakes may not happen just because the BCCI thinks it should be happening. So I think that obviously there is a government which is involved, and it's also true of the Pakistan players or the Pakistan.
So you believe instructions were given by the government to the BCCI, the Indian cricket side will not shake hands with the Pakistanis?
I would imagine that would be the case because, I can't see the BCCI taking a decision like that because it's too strong a position to take by the board, a cricket board or a cricket federation or a sports federation on its own.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. Was the Indian cricket team justified in refusing to shake hands with the Pakistani side? Or have they violated the spirit of cricket and true sportsmanship? They say cricket is a gentleman's game, but did Surya Kumar Yadav's boys behave like gentlemen? Was the refusal to shake hands in the best interests of Indian nationalism, or was it immature, churlish and uncivilized? And finally, if Indian cricketers could shake hands with Pakistani players during the height of the Kargil war, what really stopped them on Sunday? Those are the key issues that I shall discuss with two separate guests today. My first guest is the well-known and highly regarded former BBC Sports editor and the author of The 9 Waves, How India Took Over World Cricket, Mihir Bose. Mihir Bose, was the Indian cricket team justified in refusing to shake hands with the Pakistani side in Colombo on Sunday? Or in your eyes, have they violated the spirit of cricket and true sportsmanship?
They were not at all justified. This was a violation of the spirit of the game, the spirit of cricket. Cricket, remember, is a game where in order to get somebody out, you have to say, how's that? The batsman doesn't automatically get out. You go to an umpire and the umpire then decides, and you basically accept the decision of the umpire. So now you can have a television review and so on and so forth. The game is based around the idea that two teams come together believing that they want to play the sport in the best possible spirit. Yes, you want to win, you want to use all the tactics possible in winning, but not to shake hands is so churlish. You're quite right. It shows an immature country. It shows what a young boy would do, not a country which is claiming to be one of the world's powers and is going to rise to the heights of glory and economic strength.
Let me put it like this. They say cricket is a gentleman's game, and when something is not fair or proper, they say that's not cricket. But did Surya Kumar Yadav, the Indian captain, behave like a gentleman when he refused to shake the hand of the Pakistani captain after the toss?
No, he didn't behave like a gentleman. He behaved like a man who was under some sort of political instruction or was following the political will. The game of cricket should not become involved in politics. Yes, of course, the wider political situation will affect it. But what has happened now between India and Pakistan, with India not going to Pakistan to play, India, for instance, this match was not played in India. India is co-hosting the World Cup, but was played in Sri Lanka when it actually should have been played in India. I mean, if you like, not shaking hands is the ultimate stage of this sort of hostility and lack of proper goodwill between the two countries.
Now, the argument made in defense of the Indian cricket team is that they were standing up for Indian nationalism and acting in support of the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack. But in your eyes, is Indian nationalism so weak and fragile that it needs support by snubbing Pakistani cricketers?
Yes, that suggests that is what it is. Yes, what happened in Pahalgam was absolutely indefensible, an atrocity, and of course the Indian government responded to it in Operation Sindoor. But that is a response between governments. Now, if the situation was seen that way, that India should have broken off diplomatic relations with Pakistan and have had nothing to do with Pakistan, but that hasn't happened. If diplomatic relations continue, the two countries' diplomats are in each other's countries, and they are playing cricket as part of the entire game, the way it works. International cricket is being played. And what this shows is cricket is being used to make a political point, which in my opinion is wrong. Sport should not be used to make a political point. And it shows a country which hasn't worked out how to respond to political crisis.
Now, the truth, Mihir Bose, is that even at the height of the Kargil War in 1999, the Indian side shook hands with the Pakistani opponents they were playing at the World Cup in England. If it was possible and acceptable then, what do you believe is the real reason why it's not possible and acceptable today?
Well, I must say I'm completely flummoxed by what has happened since then. Yes, you're absolutely right. At the height of the Kargil War, India and Pakistan played world cricket and behaved as you would expect sportsmen to behave on a sporting field. I think what has happened now is that, if you like, power or off power, soft power is being used to make political points. And the argument being made, as far as I can understand, is the two countries are so diametrically opposed that even when they meet on the sports field, they must show their hostility and their lack of civility and their lack of cordial relationship, which underlies the way sport and particularly cricket is played.
Do you believe the team was given instructions by BCCI not to shake hands? After all, this is not the first time it's happened. It happened repeatedly in September in Dubai. And in turn, do you think BCCI was given instructions by the Indian government? Many believe that was the case. What's your hunch?
My hunch is the BCCI probably was given instructions. Remember, the BCCI is now run by a person who is very, very politically intimate with the people who run the government. So the political connection between cricket and the present government is very evident. And this is so clear and so distinct that you can't deny it. And it is possible. I don't know for sure, and I would only be speculating, but it is possible that some sort of directive was given.
Now, refusing to shake hands with Pakistan seems to have become the norm of the Indian cricket team. How is this viewed in other major cricket playing countries? I'm talking of countries like England, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the West Indies. How do they view this Indian behavior?
They view it very, very badly. They see it as India behaving like an imperial power. India now controls world cricket. India provides 85% of the income of world cricket. So what India says goes, and they think that India is now behaving as the old colonial powers of England and Australia did when they ran world cricket. In fact, some people would say that India is behaving worse, but they are hesitant. The people who run cricket in these countries are hesitant to say anything because of India's economic might. And they feel if they say anything and upset India, rub India the wrong way, they will pay an economic price for it, which they're not prepared to do.
So, in a nutshell, they don't appreciate and understand what India is doing. They resent it and find it wrong.
They resent it, yes, and they will privately tell you that what India is doing is wrong. India is not running cricket properly. India has taken over world cricket. India should show how to run the international game. The international game has extended. We had Italy playing England and giving England a hard ride. You know, cricket is spreading to areas which you wouldn't imagine. And India, instead of giving the lead, is using cricket for political purposes.
Now, as you know, the behavior in Colombo on Sunday was a world apart from what happened in Chennai in 1999 when Pakistan, after beating India, took a victory lap in the stadium and the Indian audience gave them a standing ovation. Do you fear that those days are possibly gone forever and that a new norm has been set whereby this fractious, controversial behavior has become acceptable?
Yes, I fear that. I fear that the way cricket is going, particularly between India and Pakistan, that the tension between the two countries is being translated and is reflected in the way the audience react. I remember covering the World Cup in England, and a match was played between India and Pakistan in Manchester at Old Trafford. And before the match, the British press was convinced that there would be violence. Not only the cricket journalists, but the news journalists went. And India won the match, a very close contest, won a great victory by India, led by Azharuddin. But there was no violence at the match. In fact, I remember a couple of Indian and Pakistani boys trying to make trouble, and an elderly woman came along and said, "Now, come on, behave yourself." And they said, "Auntie, yes, fine," and they walked away. Now, that, if you like, is the spirit of the subcontinent, in my opinion, and that spirit is, I'm afraid, dying.
You know, Mihir Bose, you've been BBC sports editor, you know players, you understand their way of thinking. I imagine that in their heart of hearts, the Indian team realized that they're betraying the spirit of cricket, they're betraying the spirit of sportsmanship by refusing to shake hands. Do you think that they would regret what they've done, even if they were ordered to do it by BCCI or the government? In their heart of hearts, would they have regrets?
We don't know if they were ordered, but if they were ordered and they followed instructions, they would, in their heart of hearts, regret. Let us face it. You know, there is a lot that India and Pakistan share. And let me give you a story. Virendra Sehwag, when he used to play cricket, always hummed a Bollywood tune. And once the Pakistani wicketkeeper said to Virendra Sehwag, "Viru, can you hum this other tune? I like it much better than the one you are humming." You know, can you imagine that? I mean, you know, these are two cricketers. Sehwag is trying to set India on the path to a great score. The wicketkeeper wants to get him out. Yet they are exchanging messages about which is the best Bollywood tune to be hummed by the batsman who wants to destroy the Pakistani bowling.
You know, we're coming to the end of this interview. Let me put you a question about India and a question about Pakistan. Indians believe that ours is a strong and resilient country with the strength to do the right thing, even in difficult circumstances. But if the Indian cricket team can't do the right thing, has the team let down the country?
Well, I would say it's difficult perhaps for the team if they've been told this is how they must behave to do that. But yes, for the team to stand up to the instructions that have been received maybe from the people who run BCCI is a very difficult thing to do. And you know, that would take a really principled stand, and that might jeopardize their position in the team. After all, these are cricketers who want to reach the peak of their career. They feel they are at the moment able to show their best ability, and they feel if that means not shaking hands, fair enough. That doesn't jeopardize their career. So probably they're trying to balance their career and the career goals they have against what is clearly, in my opinion, not a thing that should happen on a sporting field.
My last question: how do you imagine all of this is viewed in Pakistan? Would it be viewed with hurt, with dismay, with anger? And has it ensured that for a very long while now, cricketing relations between India and Pakistan will not return to normal?
Yes, I think there is great resentment in Pakistan, but Pakistan is aware that Pakistan is economically, in cricketing terms, very weak. After all, Pakistani players are excluded from the IPL, and to a certain extent, this was reflected in the way India won, because the IPL, if you like, is the greatest cricket tournament in the world. Not to take a part there does impact on how you perform and things like that. And Pakistan deeply resents what is happening. And remember, a couple of decades ago, when first the international cricket began to change, when the hegemony, the control for decades that England and Australia had, that hegemony, that control was changed because both the Indian and Pakistani board agreed with one another. They collaborated with one another. They worked out a plan of how to remove England and Australia's veto control over cricket. They could do that then. Why can't they do that now?
I want to thank you, Mihir Bose, for having made time for me, for having addressed this critical issue that I believe is one of importance, but sometimes doesn't get the attention it deserves in India. I'm deeply grateful to you. And now we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by the well-known editor, author, and cricket commentator, Ayaz Memon.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.
Welcome back. I'm now joined by the well-known and highly regarded editor, author, and cricket commentator, Ayaz Memon. Ayaz Memon, was the Indian cricket team justified in refusing to shake hands with the Pakistani side in Colombo on Sunday, or have they violated the spirit of cricket as well as true sportsmanship?
So, Karan, I'm a traditionalist. I'm an old timer in that sense. So, I would think that the etiquettes of the game are important, the conventions, and I think that this no handshake issue, which has now become a kind of a pattern in the last 6-8 months, if you see, it's whenever India played Pakistan, this is the position taken by the Indian team, and it takes away something from the contest, and that's really the is the ethos of the game, which the MCC has espoused very strongly in its in its spirit of cricket preamble to the laws of cricket. It exists as the preamble. Nowhere does it specifically say that teams have to or players have to shake hands, but it does emphasize on the ethos of cricket being upheld and fair play and the integrity and all of that. And I think that somewhere stands. It's being diminished, and that is a matter of concern, because how long will this continue? And what happens if other teams also start doing it for whatever reason? What if Pakistan also reciprocates in some other manner? So where is the end to this? I think that somewhere you have to make a point. Maybe you made it very strong point you wanted to make, and that's but if it is going to be prolonged in a sense that it continues. Is there a time limit set to it? We don't know. I'm just speculating that what is happening is, even in a marquee contest like the T20 World Cup, which we saw, India versus Pakistan on Sunday at Colombo, there was so much talk about will they shake hands or not, rather than, I mean, yes, of course, the match was of interest, but the fact that people's fans, spectators or the critics, and I dare say even players who are not in the match but outside of it on the cricket circuit, cricket universe, are saying, "Ab kya hoga?" And I think that diminishes the charm of cricket, I would think.
So the spirit of cricket and sportsmanship was violated on Sunday when the Indian side refused to shake hands.
As I mentioned, there's nothing, it's not specifically mentioned in the charter. It's not in the laws of cricket that you have to shake hands. You can.
But the spirit of the game is well known. Was the spirit of the game breached?
The spirit of the game, I think, the spirit of the game says that players must show respect to each other, to the opponents, etc., etc. It's a bit of a.
When you don't shake hands, you're not showing respect to your opponents, are you?
Yes, it is true. You're not showing respect to the opponent. Yes.
Let me put it like this. They say cricket is a gentleman's game. Yes. And when something is not fair or proper, they say that's not cricket.
Yes.
Did Surya Kumar Yadav behave like a gentleman when he refused to shake the Pakistani captain's hand after the toss?
I think there is a unstated kind of diktat which is gone, which is reflected in the approach of the players in the middle. In the previous tournament in the Asia Cup, we saw that they didn't shake hands. Then we saw some gestures from the Pakistani players during the course of the match. So it's become a bit of a tutu mai situation. And I don't know. I mean, now the MCC may have to revise its spirit of the game kind of preamble and say, whatever happens, the players have to, or the teams have to shake hands. We'll have to wait and see what stand the MCC takes.
It is conventional after the toss for the two captains to shake hands before the two teams start playing. The Indian captain refused to shake hands in Colombo. Was that ungentlemanly of him?
I think it's not a good situation to be in.
So it's ungentlemanly. So it is ungentlemanly.
It's not, I think, in my opinion, keeping in with the ethos of the game or the spirit of the game as I would like to see it, personally speaking. So, and that would be true as much if there was body contact in the middle. That would also break the spirit of cricket kind of ethos that has been set up.
Now, Ayaz Memon, the argument made in defense of the Indian cricket team is that they were standing up for Indian nationalism and they were acting in support of the victims of Pahalgam. But is Indian nationalism so weak and fragile it needs support by snubbing Pakistani cricketers?
I hope it's not that weak, and it shouldn't be. That's why I said at the start, I don't know how long will this continue. Because remember, we're going to have the Commonwealth Games, which is a multi-nation event. And it does not subscribe to the ICC or the MCC. It has its own convention and its own rules in the conduct of tournaments. Then there is the Olympics, and cricket is going to be admitted into the Olympics. And we are a strong votary of that as the Indian Cricket Board and Indian cricket. We want cricket to be part of the Olympics, both in the men's and women's section. So at the Olympics, what are you going to do? You might meet Pakistan in a tournament there too. So I think that somewhere all these have to be considered, all these aspects, as we go ahead. I think the fact that you've taken a political stand in a game like cricket, despite all the conventions and the ethos, sports and politics this is not the first time it has happened. Karan, I can tell you in 1968 Olympics.
Well, was it a mistake to mix sport and politics in Colombo?
I think that ongoing situation is something which concerns me. I saw it happen at the Asia Cup, and it was in the immediate aftermath of the Pahalgam massacre. So I said, okay, it's a stand taken. But if it continues, 2 matches in the same tournament and in subsequent tournaments, then there is a pattern, and therefore one then asks that, is there a time limit to this pattern?
Is this a mistake?
I would personally think that it should be played. The spirit of the game to me is extremely crucial, important. But as I said, it's not in the laws of the game, and it's not specified, it's not chartered
But
in
the
the
spirit doesn't have to be in the laws of the game. The spirit of the game is something you sense, you feel, and you automatically recognize. You accept that the spirit of the game was breached when the Indian captain refused to shake hands with his Pakistani counterpart. I'm now asking, clearly, this was a political decision. Was it a mistake to mix politics with cricket?
I think politics with sports is something that there are enough precedents. So, just to say that this is the first time it has happened or this is the only time, in cricket, we have seen far fewer examples of this than in other, at the Olympics we've had.
Let me put it like this, Ayaz Memon. The truth is that even at the height of the Kargil War in 1999, the Indian side shook hands with their Pakistani opponents
Yes.
in the World Cup in England. If it was possible and acceptable then, what's the real reason why it's not possible and acceptable today? After all, that was at the very height of the Kargil War and they shook hands.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, look, when you look back at in history, Karan, in the first 15 years after partition, India and Pakistan played each other thrice in bilateral test series, once in India, then in Pakistan, then in India. And then for 17 years, India and Pakistan had no cricketing contact. And it was politics that shaped the resumption of cricketing ties between India and Pakistan in 1978. And that time the Janta government was in power. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the foreign affairs minister. And then after Kargil, for another 5 years, there was no cricketing ties between India and Pakistan. And again, politics shaped the resumption of cricket between India and Pakistan. That time, Mr. Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India. The last time India went to Pakistan was in 2005. The last time Pakistan came to India was 2008.
My point is simple. If India and Pakistan could shake hands at the World Cup in England in 1999 when the Kargil War was actually happening, soldiers were dying, and yet they shook hands, what really stopped them shaking hands in Colombo? Is it simply politics, or were they instructed by the BCCI? And in turn, was the BCCI instructed by the government? As you know, many people believe these were decisions taken at the behest of the government. What's your view?
Well, I don't think, I don't believe that the BCCI would take a decision on its own for or against in that sense. Now that we have not been shaking hands, the resumption of handshakes may not happen just because the BCCI thinks it should be happening. So I think that obviously there is a government which is involved, and it's also true of the Pakistan players or the Pakistan team.
So you believe instructions were given by the government to the BCCI, the Indian cricket side will not shake hands with the Pakistanis?
I would imagine that would be the case because, I can't see the BCCI taking a decision like that because it's too strong a position to take by the board, a cricket board or a cricket federation or a sports federation on its own. So I think that, obviously politics or geopolitics has dictated that kind of decision. Now, whether it may be an unstated policy so far, how long it will continue is really the issue for me. What is the ICC and the MCC going to do about it going ahead? As I mentioned, there are lots of.
Well, the ICC has done nothing about it whatsoever. It's been happening since September. As you pointed out yourself, it's been happening for several months, 5 or 6 months, and the ICC has not interfered, it's not spoken, it's not commented.
So ICC and MCC, I think they've gone by the preamble as it's worded in a sense so far. The violations of the spirit of cricket or the code, there's no codified spirit. So you will not have bodily
But
contact.
the spirit of the game is very rarely codified. The spirit of the game is understood, it's felt, it's sensed, it's something that you believe in. And clearly, when you refuse to shake hands with your opponent, the spirit is being violated and you agree.
So
Now,
the spirit of the
surely
cricket,
it's incumbent on the ICC to say to the two sides, what on earth are you doing?
I think that's true. I think that is where the ICC and the MCC should step in. I mean, the fact that the spirit of cricket had to be added to the preamble of the laws showed that there were a lot of violations preceding it. It came only in 2000. The spirit
So
of
has
cricket.
the ICC made a mistake by not saying to the Indian side, what are you doing?
I think when you have a major tournament like the World Cup coming up and the ICC is the custodian of that tournament, then the what all can or not or cannot happen on a cricket field should be explained and set down maybe earlier. Not leave it vague. Spirit of cricket can be interpreted in many ways, and
So the
that's what
ICC needs to lay down regulations and rules that specify the need to shake hands. That's
I
what you're
think.
saying.
I think going ahead, it should be done because this has become a pattern. Look, Karan, ultimately, there are only 12 full members of the ICC, and two of them are India and Pakistan. 96 associate members. The big teams, the big 12, I mean, India and Pakistan don't even play each other now bilaterally. So effectively, it's restricted to 11 teams because the other teams play with India or Pakistan.
Let me put it like this. As you pointed out, refusing to shake hands with the Pakistani side has become the norm. It
Yes.
first happened repeatedly in September. It's happened again in Colombo last Sunday. How is this viewed by the other major cricket playing countries? I'm talking of countries like England, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the West Indies. How do they view this insistence on the Indian side that we won't shake the hands of the Pakistanis?
Karan, as it happens, I'm a little, we haven't heard a squeak from them so far, not from Australia, not from England. Privately, they may have discussed this, maybe within the precincts of the ICC. But I can't imagine that, maybe a player here or there may have expressed, saying what the hell is happening, but not as the sporting federation or the cricket board of that country saying.
Would you like the cricket boards of those countries to speak up and to make their attitude and views known?
I think so. I think that everybody should pitch in on this. As I mentioned, there are 12 12 major teams, fully accredited teams of the ICC. There are 96 associate members. And I think in that sense, it's a fairly small community, the 12 teams.
So they should speak up.
They should speak up.
The
It's
British,
not that,
the Australians, the New Zealanders, the West Indies, the South Africans should speak up.
yes, because the Committee of Nations which play cricket is fairly small. The main teams are only 12, as I mentioned. And there are big there's a 2027 ODI World Cup coming up, which is going to be played in South Africa. Now, you set things rolling now so that, by the time 2027 comes along, you have spirit of the cricket upheld in the way everybody thinks it should be upheld, or at least the way I think it should be upheld.
The behavior in Colombo on Sunday was a world apart from what happened in Chennai in 1999.
Yes.
In 1999, Pakistan, after beating India, took a victory lap in the stadium, and the Indian audience gave them a standing ovation. And I want to ask you a simple question. Are those days gone forever? Or do you think one day something similar could happen again?
As a cricket diehard and traditionalist, I would hope that those things come back. It's not just Chennai, 1998. It's also Pakistan, 2005, 4-5, when India went there. India beat Pakistan, and they got a rousing reception wherever they went, the Indian team. So it was reciprocated in that sense. So one hopes, but for that to happen, obviously, the two teams have to start playing cricket with each other outside of ICC tournaments.
Tell me this. You know and understand the players. They must realize in their heart of hearts that they've betrayed the spirit of cricket and sportsmanship. All sportsmen know that before you start a game, you shake hands with your opponents. After all, opponents are not adversaries, they're not enemies. They're simply as keen to win the game as you are to win the game yourself. Do you have any sense how they view their own behavior? If the Indian cricketers were coerced not to shake hands, if they were told by the BCCI or the government, don't shake hands, do you think in their heart of hearts they regret what they were forced to do?
I don't know. I mean, it's mind reading. I would imagine that it would be uncomfortable because this is not something that they've done from the time they've started playing cricket. So there's obviously some situation, something like this comes up, and it's not something that you're used to. But at the end of the day, if there is a directive kind of given, and it comes through the BCCI or whoever it comes through for whichever country, I think what choice the onus on players is not really the solution. That the players must do this, but the board officials can get away. I mean, board officials of India and Pakistan and all the other countries cohabit with each other in meetings, and they have their own parleys and discussions. I don't think that the players of there's been no vox pop of players across the cricket world to say
So you're saying to me, Ayaz Memon, that if the players were coerced and told, don't shake hands, in their heart of hearts, they would have regretted this.
I hope so, because ultimately they are players and they understand the spirit of the game. Look, Karan, just to highlight, India and Pakistan, apart from playing with each other with a lot of hostility and competitiveness on the field of cricket, in the instances that you mentioned, 1999 and 2004, don't forget, India and Pakistan jointly hosted the World Cup in 1987. They connived and contrived to get the World Cup from England to the subcontinent. In 1996, India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka were joint hosts of the World Cup. In 2011, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh were joint hosts of the World Cup. So there is something that politics can also achieve. I don't mean cricket politics alone, but also geopolitics.
Except that those sort of politics that are positive, that lead to the countries cooperating and jointly hosting the World Cup, look as if those politics are far, far gone. They've gone into the past. Now we have politics where the politicians seem to insist that the players don't shake hands. It's a very different sort of influence that politics is exerting.
I hope that changes. I mean, I'm just looking back, reflecting, the current kind of imbroglio.
Let me put this to you.
Yeah.
And it's a wider question I'm asking. India is a strong, resilient country. And as a country, we clearly have the strength to do the right thing, even in difficult circumstances. But when the Indian cricket team is unable to do the right thing, has the cricket team let down the country?
I wouldn't put the onus on the cricket team
put the onus on BCCI.
I would say yes, a BCCI can take. I mean, if there is a government situation that they have to tackle, then it's the BCCI's job to, do that job, not for Surya Kumar Yadav or the rest of the team.
So if BCCI instructed the cricketers not to shake hands, the BCCI has let down the country.
I would think that the BCCI should negotiate, if that is the situation, as to how what the team will do or not do. Now that we know that there is a certain pattern, suppose there is a next match coming up, and
negotiate with whom? The government?
Yes.
In other words, the BCCI should tell the government, you're putting us in an embarrassing position. This is not looking good for India.
If you are participating in an international tournament, or if you're hosting an international tournament in India against whichever country, the government clearance is necessary. If you have to tour even Australia, the government clears you. So obviously the government is the body or the institution that you have to negotiate with. You can't negotiate with the players and say, now we are instructing you to go and do this, because you're throwing the players in a quandary.
Okay.
Because right now, they don't know how to go about it.
My last question, Ayaz. How is all of this viewed in Pakistan? Is it viewed with hurt? Is it viewed with dismay? Is it viewed with anger? And has it ensured that it will be a long, maybe very long while before India and Pakistan can have normal cricketing relations?
I don't know how the Pakistanis feel about it right now. I mean, some of the players, what I follow on social media, there are a lot of them who are hostile to the position taken by India. Some of them are accommodating. I think the reality in terms of the cricketing balance or imbalance that exists is, it puts Pakistan in a fairly limited options position, if I might put it that way. I mean, just what happened.
But has this ensured that normal cricketing relations between India and Pakistan are not going to be restored in a hurry? That we're going to carry on like this for the foreseeable future?
I mean, at this point in time, it would appear so. I mean, look at the way this World Cup has been played out. I think that India took, which was a very hasty decision to drop Mustafizur from the IPL. Why did you have him in the auction if that is the position you want to take? And now, when you look back, after you're the political analyst, I am not. But considering what has happened in the election in Bangladesh, and now it seems to be that there are more talks happening between India and Bangladesh, maybe that situation wouldn't have arisen now. But Bangladesh took a very hard position, instantly saying, we will not play the tournament because we are insecure. And there was no negotiation between the governments. I mean, what would the cricket boards do? And then Pakistan kind of jumped into.
So at the end of the day, you're saying governments are to blame.
Yes, and Pakistan took a position that we are supporting Bangladesh, so we'll boycott the game against India, which of course they didn't do. They backtracked.
Which means that the way politics has begun to vitiate cricket is to the detriment of cricket.
I think that's the unhappy and the unsavory part, because I think politics, as we know, the examples that we've talked about, 1999, 2004, the World Cups being jointly held, and so on and so forth, the examples of Chennai in 1998 or Lahore in 2005, all these suggest that cricket between the two countries, and certainly in the subcontinent, whether it's India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, can be played in a far better atmosphere where, I mean, cricket is is part of our DNA, and therefore we can.
Let's stop at that point. The past shows that cricket can be played in a far better atmosphere between India, Pakistan, between all the countries of the subcontinent. But when politics intervenes, cricket suffers.
I would think so. I think politics can play a more, also play a more constructive role.
Let's leave it there. I thank you for the time you've given me. I'm deeply grateful for your understanding and analysis of this very sorry situation where the Indian side, as you said, has breached the spirit of cricket by not shaking hands with their opponents. After all, opponents are players like yourself. They are not adversaries, and they are certainly not enemies. Cricket is a game. It is not war by other means. Sadly, the reflection of what happened in Colombo and earlier in Dubai is to suggest that it was made into war by other means, and that is bad and sad for cricket. I thank you for the time you've given me, Ayaz Memon. Take care. Stay safe.
Thanks, Karan, for having me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch The Interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.